Hi, I'm Josh Cadillac, and welcome to my podcast, Know Your Shit. I've been blessed to see great success, as well as seeing the bottom up close and personal in 2008. And if there's one lesson I've learned, is that if you want to have success and differentiate yourself from everyone else out there, you need to know your shit. As a successful real estate and crypto investor and an educator, it drives me insane that people do not immerse themselves in their craft. Everyone is so busy advertising and testing new sales techniques, they forget the most important thing, the product. Here I want to talk to the folks that got this right, the most successful people in the world in every industry. Bring them to you and find out what they learned in their business that made it great. When you listen to my podcast, you will know for sure that the topics and experts we have on have one thing in common. They know their shit. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Know Your Shit podcast, where our knowledge and pride in what we do drives us to be excellent. My name is Josh Cadillac, and I'll be the driver's seat for today's show as we strive to learn how to stop doing deals and start closing for life. We got a great show for you today. I have a great guest here today, a good friend of mine I met not too long ago named Madison. Madison is the crypto queen, if you will, of real estate down here. It seems like, yeah, the eye roll, it's okay. We know you're a rock star. So Madison, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
100% my pleasure. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I got into crypto about 10 years ago, kind of started doing small businesses since then with it. Moved to Miami right before the pandemic. Didn't know what to do. Turned my sales into real estate and picked up the real estate, which fortunately started molding with crypto at the time. And I took it and ran with it.
Good stuff. So what got you started? What got you started in real estate? Actually, you know what? Let's even go one step further back. What got you involved in crypto? What made that something that appealed to you?
My surroundings, the people who you are around. If you have some people who are really into tech stuff, or they're into changing the future or being a part of the future kind of thing. Not that I know that kind of sounds cliche and silly, but like in the 10 years ago, it was a revolution. People looked at us sideways when we talked about crypto. So to hold those beliefs for so long, and then to be able to, I don't know, like once you're in sales, you do one thing, you can do sales in anything.
Yeah.
In Miami, the real estate and everything just started happening all at once. It was almost like my entire life was lined up to be here at this moment in this time for real estate and crypto in Miami.
Right place, right time, right idea.
Which as you know, is like I watched this cool TED talk one time where they have like five points of a topic changing the world, like Facebook. And one of the most important timings for Facebook was timing, or one of the most important points for Facebook was timing, like what we needed in the world at that point in time and who can fill that spot. And that's just kind of where we are right now. We needed fixing of a few industries, not just real estate, of people, of money, government. We needed some kind of revolution for everything. And this just kind of at that time, this is what the world and society needed.
Well, I mean, that was the intention of Bitcoin when it was started, was to take and change the world and change really to remove some of the out of the hands of power, some of the tools that they have throughout history controlled, which is the source of money and the creation of money. And what's crazy about it is really seeing not just the consequences, maybe the unintended consequences of all this, is that all of this shakes out, and you see governments and institutions trying to maintain their stranglehold on power that all of this that the control of money has for a long time allowed them to have.
Yeah. And
so it has been an interesting adventure watching this, and we haven't fully seen this flesh itself out. I think we're just at the beginning stages of really what do we want to say, scaring the hell out of everybody.
Yes. Well, Congress today introduced one of the first laws for regulation of crypto. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's always laws that are introduced, but this is by a big time senator. So we're hoping that, I don't know, maybe this could be some beginnings of some sort of regulation. Well, I know that the whole point of crypto is to not be regulated, but if we do get regulated, then we can do mainstream things like NFT our houses or our deeds our taxes.
Right.
It's a lot more of a bigger picture than just regulating crypto and DeFi and not being able to make 200% APRs every year. There's a lot more than that. We're really trying to put this into our daily life. And in order to do that, we have some rules we have to follow.
Sure. And I mean, as with anything, and one of the things that was always very cool and very interesting with the United States is the United States took an approach to passing rules almost like they wait for it to screw up and then they pass a law to kind of fix what happened.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was Jay Gould. And if I'm wrong, please don't hate me, my Madison and my listeners in general. But there was no law back in the 1800s that you couldn't print fake shares of a stock.
Okay.
And so what he did was he took and he printed all these fake shares of stocks to take and tank the value of the stock when people found out that they had bought fraudulent shares. And then he would buy the stock when it was cheap, and the stock would go back up as the fraudulent shares were outed. And he famously said that when they were going to court to fight the regulation to keep him from printing fraudulent shares, that he was fighting for freedom of the presses. In other words, to print more fake stock. And so, yeah, I'm fighting for freedom of the press. I want to print for more free stock.
I mean, listen, how American does it get?
It does to some extent. Somebody's always out there looking to take, and there's two groups of people: the ones that are out there hustling, trying to take and make a better thing, and help folks. I mean, look, what was Bitcoin if not that? And there's the group of people that are looking to take and exploit it. And typically, you see that more so in societies, it seems like, where there's less of a path to prosperity by doing things the right way than there is by doing things the wrong way. So like you'll see a lot of exploitation. One of the best examples I can give is I read a book about hackers and where the best hackers in the world come from. And they come from Russia. And the reason being is they spent so long under Soviet control that it's so hard to make money in a normal way. You always have to be figuring out ways to get around whatever the rules are. So just the mindset in general is, well, just because that's how it is, there's got to be a way around it. So how do we find the way around it?
Yeah.
And so I always thought that was a really, really interesting thing. And it's kind of, what the available options for fraud are going to be, we haven't even found yet. We've seen some.
Well, no, I mean, I kind of want to disagree with you.
Sure.
So, there's a lot of fraud now because of unregulation. But the whole point of introducing crypto, at least in real estate, is to eliminate the fraud.
Oh, so sure.
Last year alone, we had $200 million in real estate fraud. By introducing the blockchain or NFTs, we could theoretically eliminate every single penny of that.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that. And I didn't mean that to take and say that it was something that only had downside on the fraud front. The reasons why it's being adopted is because there is this tremendous ability for transparency and all of the good things that come with it. And with anything, though, it always winds up being figuring out in advance what really smart people are going to do to misuse it away from how it's intended. And the nature of it is such that it's going to be very hard for folks to do that. But I mean, even with, some of the things that have happened with NFTs, some of the things that have happened with rug pulls and things like that, we've seen folks, less white hat actors than we otherwise would like to see. And so figuring out, and that's exactly what you're saying is, putting the regulation in place to stop the misuse of this thing will allow it to function in these good ways that it has the ability to do. And that makes sense, actually. The Orlando convention that we were kind of ships that passed in the night. We missed each other at that convention, but they had the folks from Florida up there. They right before lunch was the folks that they just voted in. They're going to regulate on a state level,
right.
Crypto, and super interesting because they're very crypto friendly. Like they want very much to regulate crypto only in a way that's going to take and prevent the fraud, but allow it to thrive as much as they can.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really, really cool concept.
That is what we want. We still want thriving. We still want $1 trillion industry plus, but we need to help. It's just there's an extent on how wild, wild west it should be. And that's saying a lot because I personally like to take advantage of that wild, wild west. So it's a kind of 22. It's on that line,
Yeah, no, absolutely. As it becomes less Wild West, there's opportunities do get squeezed out in that process. Unfortunately, there are good money making opportunities. because regulation in and of itself has an expense built into it. I know with the project that we're working on right now, going through SEC Reg D and then Reg A, and what that is, and just how long the latex glove they're going to use is to take in, and how expensive it is, and how much time it takes, and do you lose your advantage in market just with all the time it takes to be compliant, doing everything the right way? To people that maybe aren't doing things the right way, but aren't getting caught for it. And so what do? Do you lose your opportunity to market? How do you do this in the best possible way? And these are the real things that face a new technology when it's coming to market, especially one that's fundamentally challenging something as ubiquitous as money.
Well, so the SaaS that I'm creating for the new developments, I mean, same thing. I just brain farted. Bring back what you just said, the sentence you said.
I was talking about how the Reg A, Reg D, how the regulation process is time consuming and expensive.
Well, so for my SaaS instance,
and for everybody listening, SaaS, what do you mean by SaaS?
Software as a service. So I am creating a software as a service for certain companies to be able to intake crypto easily. But in order for me to do this, in order for me to move past some hurdles, I myself have to start lobbying in order to get done what I need done, because there are no rules. So because there are no rules, right now the government's positive case law pro blockchain. So we have that for us as a community, I guess. But in order to do these, someone has to be the first, and then you have to start trying to lobby yourself or your subject, whatever you pick, whatever I pick, and you literally have to start doing it. There's no one out there. We have to create the laws ourselves, almost.
Sure.
Literally. I don't want to do all the SEC regulations, so I am willing to tokenize NFTs instead of tokenize real estate, because NFTs so far are not under SEC regulation. That's a whole
other ball of wax.
Go to jail kind of thing. So there are things that we have to do still every day actively to not just the doing, not just the creating, but changing and evolving on every single side, from psychologically to legally in every way.
And I mean, I think that, and this is one of the things that I appreciated, and working with you on the course that we wrote together. She and I wrote the Ace Crypto 2 class together, and she was a major contributor to Crypto 1. But in those, it was watching the process that you had to go through to close real estate transactions for your customers, where laws just didn't exist, where the law is completely silent because the law never, ever anticipated doing what it is that we're trying to do. And title companies and more so title underwriters wanted nothing to do with it because it messes with their status quo. And so figuring out the workarounds is such a big part of this. And so if you're going to be in this space and trying to innovate in this space, it's not running into figuring out what the laws are. You can't even hire an attorney because the attorney doesn't know. You have to take and actually work on. We have to almost start with a lobbyist to take and get the laws and figure out what laws do exist. So I guess you need the attorneys to say, hey, look, what laws do exist. Well, how do we get from here? What do we need to get from here to there, at least to get this recognized? Because the other option is if the law doesn't get passed, you have to wait to get sued on it and see how the courts come down on the thing. And then there's, both the federal and the state level of laws that you have to take and deal with. Sometimes they're in conflict with each other. And especially when the developing technology is involved, it can be all kinds of, what's the technical term for it? Messy. That's the word. And so, So let me ask you this.
Okay.
Where did the success come from for you in real estate? Where did you, I know you've been doing a lot of stuff, lot of deals, working with a lot of people, and a lot of high-end stuff that most agents would give their eye teeth to have done. You've done some of these deals. So where did the success come from for you?
Hard work, I'd have to say. It was just every day, the grind. So to do those deals, not many people out there are going to willing to take $7 million in crypto, especially on that MLS. There's only 200, well, on any given day, there's 200 to 300 listings that accept crypto on the MLS. Now there's like 20 of those in Miami, 4 of those, I think at the time, only one was really fitting in with the budget, with what my guy wanted to do. So I had to literally go down every single unit on every single building. Like literally, I had to talk to every single agent in the entire Miami. Like, hey, would you be willing to do this? Hey, are you able to do this? And in talking to every single agent, I had to teach every single agent to even see if they would be willing to do it. If the agent's even willing to do it, because that's the first hurdle, is going through the agent.
Yep. And then their broker.
and then the seller, and then the seller's lawyer, and then the seller's finance agent. It's the whole entire team. You have to teach everybody.
Yep.
So that's the thing. You're teaching everybody, and I had to meet everybody all of the time. And because I met everyone all the time, having all the same conversations, now I'm known as this person. And then I keep having to go because my guys keep wanting units. So I have to, for an entire year, at least every single day was, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do this? Hey, do you have another unit? And then now it's people like, hey, I have this unit. Hey, I have this unit. And now I'm also get to be to the point where I'm like, hey, my guys need another unit. You have anything off market for me? You know what I need. So it's just that hard work every single day, putting in the hours and being a reliable source of information for that.
Good stuff. So let me ask this. What do you like best about doing what you do?
Oh, good question. Building, changing.
Okay.
I like to build. Seeing holes, filling the holes. That's fun.
Okay.
Just seeing, oh, that needs to be worked on. Oh, we could do something with that. Oh, well, we could put this and this together. Like right now, my next person to talk to is a county clerks, just for no other reason, but to ask them, what's the issues right now? What can we do to solve this? I have this. Do you think that this could be implemented this way? And if so, how can we start? Or seeing that underwriters need a process to do this. So what do we do for them? Well, let's start hiring some hourly underwriters kind of thing, and just have them copy and paste, scan some documents on the blockchain, and let's just start the blockchain process. It's just, I don't know, it's seeing all the cool ways you could change the world, and you could change them easier if people would let you. So that seems cool.
If they would be so darn difficult.
We're out here trying to do good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is a good thing. Now, so the innovation, the creation of something that wasn't there, making something new, that's great.
It's fun.
So let me ask you this then.
Okay.
What makes you good at it?
Well, me personally have always been into puzzles and connecting and putting 2 and 2 together, networking, always seeing like, oh, here's again a hole. I know someone who does this. Oh, you need a developer. I have 5. It's just things like that. It's a puzzle. It's a challenge.
So it works well with the way that your mind is wired. And
I think so.
Yeah. All right. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
And so,
everything in my life is crazy, has truly genuinely like led up to all of this. I am just now kind of realizing it all. And that's how I feel like when you find things that are not meant to be, but when you when your path aligns, and I think that's a lot where, I don't want to say success, but like how things are able to happen is that the path is finally aligned, and it just, I don't know, life kind of opens up,
Sure. Well, I mean, and it's preparation a lot, because there was a lot of preparation work that went into getting you ready to take and exploit the opportunity when it finally became available.
10 years.
And being ready when it actually showed itself.
Yeah.
So what do you think now gives you the edge? What do you think gives you your edge in this business? It gets you hungry, keeps you waking up, makes you want to go?
For no other reason what I just said, that 10 years, I have knowledge and experience that no one else in the world does. Point blank.
Great answer. Great answer.
And I try to use that to my advantage, like from anything. Right now, I have a group chat with an Indian. He owns the #1 exchange in India, and he also is a real estate mogul. So how am I trying to put together this Indian crypto exchange with real estate somehow? We're gonna.
Where does that piece fit? It's gotta fit though, darn it.
Well, he wants a wallet. I know people who make wallets, and now we do things like try to make a residual percentage off every single transaction that ever happens on that exchange. Those are the situations, like that is what makes it exciting, being able to see potential millions every day. and having billions of business. Like everyone wants to do business in crypto right now. Everyone does, whether it's buying or selling $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, or they want a hedge fund wants to buy a bot, or someone in India wants to sell 70 acres as an NFT. I have someone in Russia who hits me up and says, I want to NFT my house in Russia because she can't go there right now. I don't know. It's just like, there's so many puzzle pieces. There's so many things going on in the entire world right now. And there's no one out there who's able to do it. And it's just like, bro, you just see it. And it's so easy to just put it together. And it is for us, it is easy to put it together, but to actually extend the process out, it's just changing the world to keep up with you at this point.
Yeah.
That's the hurdle.
It's seeing the big picture, but having the roadblocks that get in the way.
Yeah. And now we have to do something about these roadblocks.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, this is the place where it starts to slow down and get real messy, sadly.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate. So,
and that's why we need talks like this, so that when we start expanding everyone's knowledge, and how many talks I had this week with just to people like, oh my God, we could do this with title. The county clerks, you just have to go to them and ask them what they need. Let's get some judges on a table and let's get everyone together. And like, I'm having other people having these conversations with themselves, like they're everyone's wheels are moving.
Yep.
And it's just by having these kind of conversations and like people seeing we can eliminate $200 million worth of debt. There's two big facts of crypto and real estate: eliminating debt completely and 30 days to 30 minutes. And those things right there, those things blow everyone's mind. And if those are the only two facts we need to change our entire world in every way, not just real estate, we're eliminating fraud, 30 days to 30 minutes. We're bringing everything centerfold and healthy.
Mm-hmm.
No more. And well, that's another thing that we have to worry about the blockchain too, is people putting wrong information on the blockchain. That's our next step.
Sure.
Once it's on the blockchain, sure, it's on the blockchain, but does that mean it's right?
Yeah, human error.
Yeah.
It's a factor.
Yeah.
No, it's a thing. It is a thing, and it's such a big topic. And again, it's fleshing out these idea of where the problems are going to come from, and figuring out how to take and preemptively address them. Otherwise, you wind up in a situation where you have a major PR nightmare, and it tends to take and hurt the entirety of crypto when anything crypto related has a bad day. And that's just because it's not fully understood. And this is the big issue that I run into when I teach crypto.
Okay.
One of the number one questions I ask folks before I teach is, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you put your crypto knowledge? It's the easiest way for me to figure out who I'm talking to in the room. And in every room, I have like a couple of 9s and 10s. And by a couple, I mean 1 or 2. And then everybody else is a 0 to 2.
Yeah.
I own some, I know nothing about it. My kid made me buy it. I've heard that so many times. It's such a thing. And so the cool thing is, for me, in teaching the class that I do, especially the basic class, the one that you helped me out with, I'm walking them through the very process that made happen for me exactly what you're talking about, which is to get the wheels turning.
Yeah. Yeah.
The process of, oh, wait a second, this does this, and that's how it works.
Yeah.
Oh, well, why don't we use it for this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And because if it gets everybody excited about it, the idea, I mean, like my father was one of the first people with the internet that like he got it. He saw it. He owned all the big players. You name Amazon, eBay, Google. He owned thousands of shares of all their stock. He's like, this is the idea. And I'm like, I don't get it. Like, what do you mean? And he's like, no, you don't understand. This is going to be, and like, he saw it. And then when he explained it to me, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. You could have a place where it's $2 a square foot to build your manufacturing place because you don't have to physically be. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. That makes a big difference. And so getting people to that, oh, wow moment of understanding, hey, look, this is not just a fad for like computer nerds. It's not that. It's actually a good thing that had, to this point, it's proved itself. And this is really, when I think about the heavy lifting that Bitcoin actually had to do.
Yeah.
I mean, all the cases it had to make for itself and survive, and the transparency and the let's call it inhackability at this point. Okay. The fact that it's been able to establish value amongst a broad enough group of people that you have a reasonable certainty of being able to liquidate your position, even though there might be volatility in the price, you still have the ability to liquidate your position, that it's not going to go to zero despite all kinds of bad news having happened at different times. All of those are huge test cases for people to take and accept something that is, Initially when I explained to people, they're like, this is just so different. I'm like, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you actually touched green money? Or do you Zelle everything? You get a check, you take and put the check in. Like, when was the last time you touched actual green money? We've been set up for doing this electronically now for a long, long time.
Yeah.
The reality of it is, it's just that you in your mind say that, hey, I can exchange this for this green stuff that actually has no real value other than fiat. And that somehow makes you feel warm and fuzzy. How big a step is it really to have it be something else that's representing value, that's backed up by a market that says it's worth a certain amount, which is basically what bolsters the value of the dollar, that we all say it's worth something, except this thing doesn't have the ability for somebody arbitrarily, some government to arbitrarily inflate it, to devalue what you have by making more of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think as a lot of the volatility slowly over time starts to work its way out of crypto, that will make the case much like it did with the technology stocks. I mean, when you talk about investing in Amazon right now, nobody's sitting there saying, oh, how do you deal with the volatility? Everybody's like, oh yeah, Amazon's a great company. Well, I got to tell you, in the early 90s, like, how the hell do you invest in Amazon? That thing's all over the place. Sure. And so I think that it's still in the process, at least in this domestic market, of establishing itself as what it really is, what I say all the time, which is an idea whose time has come. And I think that we've been prepared for it. As I said, all the electronic banking and everything, we're very well suited to the idea of not having tangible money.
Yeah, it's just getting over that emotional threshold.
Pretty much, that's really what it is. That's a very good way of referring to it, Madison, is an emotional threshold, because it's not a tangible one, really.
No, it's just people being knowingly, I don't want to say scared, but uneducated.
Yeah, not recognized.
Fully uneducated, because they have all the tools. They know it's there. They should know. If you are aware of the world, you should know of its pros, or some of them at least. So if you are not as educated as you could be, it is willfully at this point.
To some extent. I mean, finding good source of information, because that's the problem in this world. There's a lot of sources of bad information. Oh, it's going away. It's going to end. It's a fad.
Yeah, every week is something to do. It is.
And so it depends a lot of times on the sources that you have. And if you don't know what the heck you're listening to, you don't know what you don't know.
I know to shut it out, because I've been seeing those headlines for quite literally 10 years. So I just completely have known it. But for someone who's just now getting into this, it would be like, imagine having a heart attack every day.
Yeah.
To a new headline. We're going to zero. We're going to zero. We were going to zero last week. I can't imagine that. But we went through that. We've gone through that, for years. So for this now, it's like, we're strolling through the park.
We call this Tuesday. It's going to zero Tuesday. Yeah, no, it's a thing.
For sure. Absolutely.
And so maybe that ties in with this next thing, or maybe you might want to go a completely different direction with this question. But what is the most important thing you've learned in the process of doing what you do, whether that be crypto or real estate? If you were to take and say to somebody, you know what, if there's one nugget, one thing that I picked up along the way that's, I think, is most valuable, what would it be? I like to ask nice little questions that don't make you have to think too hard, right?
I want to give a good answer.
While you're at it, what is the meaning of life, right?
The first thing that pops in my head is people.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
Well, people are either really supportive, or they're excited, or they give you a challenge and they're just like, no. They don't even say anything. They're just saying no. A lot of agents are just like, no. So the most important thing is, just like, it's cool to, I don't want to say it's a cliche, but changing the world, or like changing sentiments, or being able to push an entire industry forward, or just like, that's the cool thing. It's just the people, like being able to change people's minds is cool.
So learning the skills to be persuasive, the persuasiveness to take and make a persuasive case.
But I don't even have to persuade if I have the correct facts.
Sure. But I mean, it's
I don't know, I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I use it a lot, because negotiation for me, and we teach a lot about negotiation. Negotiation is very much the art of persuasion. It's persuading somebody that the position that you're holding right now isn't the best position, and maybe my position is a better one, and here's the reasons why.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I mean, people tend to take an almost assign a negative connotation when you use the word persuasion, that you're talking somebody into something. I think it's very much just putting the facts that you have in the most compelling
Yeah.
order to take and make it. I mean, whenever I write a class, that's what the idea of the class is. Like, how do I take and make this information as compelling as it can be so people can see the value of it and for them get the most benefit? Because, you know, I think people lose sight of what, when it comes to doing a class, what it's about. They make it about themselves. A class is about the people you're giving the class to. If they don't get it, then you wasted your time, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that falls under persuasion, the art of being persuasive. But maybe there's a better way to refer to it. I don't know, but that's what it sounds like to me. That
Yeah.
you're saying.
You have to persuade, I guess. I don't know. Because some people are like really like, yes, finally I get this opportunity. And then other people are just, they quite literally will give you no other response but NO.
Yeah.
Miami
And
agents.
no.
No. Like, but I'm gonna give you cash the same day. What's the difference? No. Okay. I don't know. It's just funny. People are
It's
funny.
yeah, no, people are funny. And that person that's a no, yeah, a year from now, they'll be a strong yes and wondering what they missed out on.
100%. 100%. You still try.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know for me with my listings, I always had crypto no on there. And now all of my listings, I go through the conversation with my listing customers and I explain to
Okay.
them when they want it. And now all my listings are crypto yes now. And it was just a matter of having been exposed to it, having it figured it out, and
Yeah,
realize that it's a benefit to my customer
it is to everybody.
in a lot of ways.
And to
Absolutely.
everybody, like how, that's what I say to people, like, do you understand how blessed you are for someone to be offering you millions in crypto for free?
Yeah.
That is God raining upon you.
It's a good day
That's
at BlackRock.
seriously, like, I would be begging, like, please give me all your crypto. I would be begging. And some people are out there like, and that's what the agents are getting in the way of these sellers.
They don't
Or
understand it.
they don't.
They just don't understand it. I mean, I don't care. I've gone to some of the most progressive offices in Miami. I
Yeah.
get called in and 95, there's one agent, there's like one, maybe two agents in the room that get it. And everybody else is, and the crazy thing is the one or two agents that get it, they're kind of the people that don't talk to anybody. You know, they're kind of the prototypical crypto nerd that you think about. Like, I don't want to say mom's basement's involved, but they're definitely, you know, the introvert in the room.
Yeah.
So they're like, they've got it, they understand it, and they're not sharing it with anybody. And so that's a bit of a problem as it turns out. But we try to solve it one person at a time.
Yes, we am.
All
Yes,
right. So what are you, Miss Madison? What are you most proud of in your business? And if that's not enough, two answers to this question, and in your life, business and personal.
finally figuring it out.
Okay. That angst is out the window. I finally know what I'm doing.
Dude, I found my path. I never did not have it before this.
Love it.
Again, I'm saying this word cliche a lot today, but it was everything that I have ever done in my life has led up to this. From randomly getting into crypto to creating POS systems for, in 2014, we created a small tablet POS system for Ace Hardware and a restaurant to take crypto in 2014. Like, how am I making small POS systems then, educating and persuading then to now, to whole industries, to speaking at conferences, telling people about this? I mean, it's just like, I don't know. You never knew. Last year, we did not know we would be having this conversation right now.
This is true.
So, and that's why I say the people.
That's true. That is true. The people are an important part of it. All right. So let's say you wanted to give one piece of advice to our listeners.
Okay.
Drop some wisdom on them. What one piece of advice, besides buy Bitcoin? I'm kidding. What one piece of advice would you give our listeners out there?
Listen to yourself. Believe in yourself. Go all the way. Work hard for it.
I like that last part. I would have had an issue with you if you didn't add that last part.
Work hard for it. If remember 10 years ago, people looked at me crazy. And if I didn't keep going with it and keep moving and truly believed in myself and knowing that this is something that should be believed in, we would not be here today.
Mm-hmm.
Like those crypto sales probably would never have happened, which means headlines maybe would never have happened, which means I would not have had the thousands of conversations with thousands of different agents that have not happened or have happened. Like there's so many things. If I did not believe in myself and what I was believing in would not have happened, that would not be in this world today, that Miami could potentially be different if I did not have those thoughts 10 years ago.
And so let me ask you this question. I think I know the answer, but I'll ask it anyway. Did you question yourself at any point along the way?
No.
That's impressive. For most people, I think
I
they'd say yes.
Well, I was raised Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started college, a few years before, the year before Silk Road started, is when I stopped practicing Catholicism.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of stopped believing in organized religion in general. I know this is kind of off topic, but I've always had that thought of questioning and or knowing what was right or wrong for myself. Mm-hmm. So from having my entire life having Catholicism, I went to K through 12, went to Catholic school, church my whole life, everything, always questioned it. Mm-hmm. Finally, when I'm on my own, no more. And then crypto came along. Mm-hmm. And it was like, there was no thoughts. It was, we're all the way.
Sure.
But, we didn't hold. I always sold because you never knew what was going to happen or what wasn't going to happen. So we could be a billionaire right now, but.
So there is some kicking yourself that does go on.
Yes. Never sell. Okay. There's one. Never sell. That's high, but don't sell. Big key.
What have I learned? Don't sell.
Hodl forever. Diamond hands.
Figure out ways to get liquidity in other methods. Absolutely. Yes. DeFi is coming and helping with that problem as we go. No, I mean, I think that it's interesting because I can't say I'm a person that had questions themselves much either. But I know that a lot of people do. And I know that it's not necessarily, it's a human experience, even when you believe in something at times, to kind of question, like, am I out of my mind? Like, is this wrong? Yeah. Like, am I just flat out missing this? Everybody else is saying one thing. Why am I not getting this? And so that ability to remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing and being genuinely, look, you should have things in life that you care about enough, that you're passionate enough about, that you're willing to hold them against hell and high water.
Yeah.
And if not, well, frankly, you're probably cheating yourself out of the life you're capable of having, because a life that has those things, those hills that you're willing to fight and die for, is a better kind of life to have, as opposed to a mediocre life where everything is just sort of, I go with the flow.
Yeah. So, well, especially when you see something growing all the time. Because remember, like, crypto it didn't just start, but it just started picking up. So we know when I started, there were 3 cryptos, and every single week after, more and more.
There were 3 more.
So from like 2010, we went from 5 cents at Bitcoin to 2013, when I was just graduating college. I just started that that was when we started buying miners and started mining Doge in 2013. So there was never a time where you sat and questioned it, for me at least, because we were so heavy into it, from creating businesses to mining. Like, I had an entire warehouse of mining in 2013 and 14 that we stopped and sold it all in 2016, I think, right before everything. And that was because Bitcoin went stalled for so long. And that's another thing too, when it stalled, that's people kind of dropped off. You never stop believing.
Yeah.
You always know what it stands for.
Yeah.
And then it was a different meaning than what it is now. Then it was F the government, F the banks. This is all us, anonymous.
Yeah.
Now it's different. Now it's like, prove ourselves.
Yeah. Now we've gotten to the big kid table. Now it's proving that we still have that. It still has the chip on the shoulder. It definitely does.
It does. So
and that's good. It needs to have the chip on the shoulder, because people need to be
put in place,
committed.
That too.
They need to be committed to taking and doing the work that it's going to take, because it's going to take a lot of gray matter. It's going to take a lot of force. I don't want to say force, but a lot of human effort to clear all these hurdles. And somebody's got to be passionate. There's got to be enough play, enough profit, enough benefit left in it for people to do that. And so that's a big thing. But it appears that that's the case. And time will tell. But Let's go to this. I know you're always busy, you got a million things going on, but what is next for Madison? What's the next idea that's on the table that has you most excited moving forward?
Projects, real estate crypto projects.
All right.
Creating the solutions that we need for our industry. And then once created, I want to step back and start the government side, actually probably lobbying, because I'll have to for my projects. But projects and putting pieces together, not necessarily real estate sales as much anymore.
Okay.
Probably only crypto ones, but bigger scale.
Beautiful.
Yeah, trying to change the industries.
So parlaying what you know of crypto with what you know of real estate to bring the two things together and help the two interact with each other in a better way that's allows the consumer in general to have more options.
Yes, yes. In general, no longer just sales.
Absolutely. No, and when I talk in classes about it, I say, look, we could do a closing literally at some point where I can invite you over for a pool party. I'm at the deep end, you're at the shallow end, and we complete the transaction with our cell phones.
In the pool.
In the pool. Nobody even has to get out.
Hour. Yeah.
So no shirt, no shoes required. 100%. And you know, it's my pool when we got in the pool. It's your pool when we got out of the pool, and everybody had a nice time, right?
Yeah. You don't even need to bring your wallet.
Yeah, you don't have to bring anything really. It's really a different world. And the real estate agents that are involved, I know there's real estate agents that don't understand this and think that they're going to get squeezed out. Look, I think a lot of people will get squeezed out of the seats at the table, but to me, I don't know that there's ever going to be a way for a tangible asset to be exchanged without somebody tangibly having to show somebody. I don't care how good the VR is.
Okay.
I can't smell cat pee with my VR goggles. I have to walk in the place and wait a second. You know, I get a bad feeling when I go in this place. Yeah. I don't want to spend millions of dollars when I get a bad feeling. And the VR isn't necessarily going to do that. They're going to look, they're going to try to squeeze it out. And some part of the industry might go away, but can the mortgage broker's piece be largely gobbled up? Look, they do it over the phone, over the internet now, where there's no mortgage broker. It's done almost largely algorithmically. So yeah, I would be worried about their seat at the table. I'm working with a project right now on this, training real estate agents to become more the mortgage broker because they feel like that mortgage broker seat may be eliminated from the table altogether in some way at some point. The title company, what they're doing, what they're underwriting. Well, you know, they're underwriting this title. If the title is entirely on the blockchain, how risky is that? If there is still needed title insurance, will that title insurance be significantly reduced in price because the risk that they're underwriting is a significantly reduced risk?
We actually had this talk this week. We may not need title insurance anymore.
Sure.
And if not needing, at some point, we are thinking, I had this talk this weekend. It is only going to be a processing fee where we're just paying someone hourly.
Yeah.
And title could go to that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I could see that somebody to take and actually go review on the blockchain and make sure there's no other encumbrances or anything like that. But
yeah, and even then, if we have the solution down tight enough, which it could go this way, not anytime soon, but it could be to where we don't even need everything. There are algorithms out there that will tell you if a property has something on it or not. It's like a lien or anything. So
sure.
It could get to the point where it is all the equations. We won't even need an hourly person. But to go back to what you're saying with people, everyone needs their hand held still.
Sure. And I mean, what that process looks like, and if it's a special type of token that is used as the NFT for that property, and there's you know, the ability to attach liens to that token, so it's all in one place on the blockchain, so that it's all clear and transparent. All of that could be now. I think the mortgage process probably goes away before the title process does almost.
No, people always need money.
Well, no, I'm not saying not getting money. I'm saying that the mortgage broker's seat at the table gets eliminated just because I see that happening. Okay. For me, the title makes more sense than the mortgage guy going away maybe in the short term, just because it's so obvious that a completely transparent place to have the title. We strive to have a transparent title system already anyway. So for me, day one, when I understood blockchain, I was like, well, why isn't title on there? Duh. But the state gets money and the county gets money for doing the recording. So are they going to take and forego that? And the title companies they have a lobbying interest in this. So what's going to have to happen? How is the consumer going to have to get together enough to sit there and say, hey, look, we don't need you anymore. We're going to do it the other way.
Yeah.
And they kind of have a stranglehold on that industry. I mean, hopefully there'll be enough people in the title space that will want to preserve some sort of niche for themselves. But, everybody's got to eat, and it's got to be a sustainable business for it to work. Otherwise, if people aren't making money,
yeah,
it's not good for anybody. So everybody's got to make money, or their industry has to cease to exist. And there's a place for that. That's what has always made, look, guys, there used to be tons of wagon wheel manufacturers out there. We don't need a lot of wagon wheels anymore because we went to car tires, right? And so, yeah, it was normal and natural for those businesses to go out of business. And there's such this idea of like government should intervene to preserve the taxi cab so Ubers don't. Well, you know what? Uber is the next iteration. The consumer has made the choice. If there's a place left for that, then it needs to figure that out. But the market, the individual, the person that worked hard for the money should be the one to make and decide. I know that sounds
or evolve.
Or evolve. If you're the wagon wheel company, start learning how to make, get some rubber plants going.
That Indian guy I was talking about that owns the exchange, he also owns the second largest cab company. So now what we're doing is we're created him NFC cards. He for a wallet from his exchange that attaches to these NFC cards where people can go in a cab and they can pay their cab with their NFC card with their crypto. So there's it's just evolving. It's just
absolutely. So now you can take your Bitcoin and go pay for a cab in India. There you go.
And I make money every single transaction.
Beautiful. Can't beat that.
There are things, my own point was it doesn't matter what you're doing or how you're doing it. You can evolve.
Of course. It's a willingness. It's a willingness to do it. And with time, people become less and less willing to change because there's more and more.
Well, the ones who aren't changing at that point are the ones who are the dinosaurs need to die out anyways.
Yep. And unfortunately they'll miss the opportunity to get into something new and potentially see their industry move away from them.
Yes.
It is a thing. So how about a completely off of all this topic question for you? Much more personal. What do you do to unwind? What is how Madison unplugs and chills?
I live on the beach. I'm on South Beach. So lately it's been walking to the beach every day.
That is nice.
It is.
I am a fan.
It is very nice. South Beach is a nice life. It's not as crazy as everyone thinks. Well, no, it is crazy. And on 2 streets.
There are some crazy.
2 streets away.
So you need a buffer zone.
Yeah. But it's okay. The beach.
I'm sorry.
I was just going to say the beach though. It's nice.
A huge fan.
What do you do?
Me? Oh, me. I'm board games and
I know, yes, yeah. I knew that.
Movies and just
movies, yeah.
Anything I can do to take and kind of unplug. That's my to turn it off a little bit. I actually have to leave it on. Actually, that's the thing with the board games. I can leave it on I can play the board games. But there's no consequences to anything that I do. Everything I do in life, I've always been a business owner. So everything I do has consequences. How are you going to pay people's pay if you make a mistake? And, you're responsible for it. When I play a board game, I have all these things I have to do, but none of it really matters. The worst case scenario, I lose. Oh, well, actually, that is kind of bad. I am pretty competitive, so it doesn't work out well.
Yeah, I put on Bravo and I just watch Real Housewives. Mindless entertainment. You just put it on in the background and you just zone out.
That is officially mental cotton candy. There is no nutritional. I watched one the other day called "The Floor Is Lava" on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I saw. Yeah, that's a new one.
It's kind of. I used to watch Wipeout.
Oh, I love Wipeout. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know what it is about seeing people get the ever-loving crap beat out of them. For me, I just somehow feel better about my life. That's from watching you get your brains beat in.
True. I don't know. Mindless entertainment.
It's one of the things that we don't talk about nearly enough, which is how quickly the world has changed to be what it is. I mean, people used to write letters to each other because they had that kind of time. They'd sit and they'd write a missive to someone. It'd be several pages. They'd send it in the mail. They'd wait weeks to get a response back. And the pace of life is just so much faster. And I think the reasons that you see all the anxiety issues and everything else that's out there is that we haven't taken into account that as human beings, this is a lot faster than human beings have ever had to function at. And so there's 3 things that that concern me with society in general, which is that we're the most anxious we've ever been, we're the loneliest we've ever been, and we're the most depressed we've ever been. And I think that that's a factor of the pace at which we live life, and the fact that we have an unwillingness sometimes to take a step back from that pace and say, you know what, it's okay to take a break. One of my favorite movies in the universe is Office Space. And in there's a line where he says, yesterday I did nothing, and it was everything I ever thought it could be.
I like that.
I took a nap yesterday for like, I lay down for like 5 minutes after the gym. 5 minutes. 3 hours later, I woke up and I was like, that's incredible. The biggest problem I had was figuring out how to go back in my audiobook to where because I put it in like read me to sleep mode, and I forgot to put the sleep timer on. So I missed like all the book, but
That's
yeah, unwinding is
a
important.
good problem to have.
Definitely first world problem right there. Last question.
Okay.
You made it through the gauntlet. You survived the Know Your Shit podcast. If folks are like, I got to get me some more of that Madison, where can folks find Madison?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Instagram, Madison Sold It. LinkedIn, working on my website. It's always a work.
There's always something.
Madison Sold It. Is that a good one?
You know what? Nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
I'll remember it.
Right? It's easy. Madison Sold It.
Yeah, that works. If there's not one else out there, you got it. So way to go. That's a good one.
Speaking of which, URLs, we need to get on that still.
Yeah, I've got them.
We have them.
What are we going to do? We got to do something with them. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
We're going
All right. So let me say, Madison, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Your time.
Thank you.
And it was always, as it always is, fun to hang out with you, fun to talk. Yeah. Till next time.
Until next time. Well, thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
Good time.